All right, looks like I'm live. Let's go to this. Cool. Well, it's Ludum Dare 37, people. I'm pretty excited. Oh, I should probably send out a little notification. Livestream. No, that was my old one. Ludum Dare 37. All right. We are, how far out are we now? Let's see here. There's a new website for Ludum Dare, ldjam.com. And as you can see here, we're about an hour and 22 minutes away. Getting pretty excited. Yeah, so I've got some prep to do here, so I just thought I would do it. So I'm going to use Monogame and Cold Steel again, which is my framework. Although I'm using the overhaul branch, which for some reason I like to rewrite this dang thing every Ludum Dare for some reason. But I think I'm on a good track right now. So we're just going to clone this down to my desktop. Actually, I should make this bigger in case I need something to show something. How do you make it bigger? Hey, there we go. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Come on. Anyways, so I started a few weeks trying to overhaul it, and then I built tools, and then that didn't apply, and I went down rabbit holes and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I have some work that's unfinished yet on it because I did something this morning. I'm trying to add in a feature that's necessary, and it broke. So, and I have to add audio in. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. Then I got to get my repo ready for the actual jam. And then it's time to actually see what's going to happen on the for the theme. I'm thinking simplicity because I think that's a good theme because it's hard, and I have no idea what every other one. I think I'd have an idea, so I'm guessing that it'll be that, but it could be way wrong. But check out the overhaul branch here. Oh, all right. So let's see where I left off. So going to my samples here. I'll pop up Derp Fender. And also bring up the actual solution. And load. Using Visual Studio 2017 now, the RC version. There's some bugginess to it that isn't super great, but oops. Oh, I think I have to set up. So one of the things that I did is I kind of inverted this here, where you make a class library instead of an actual game to kick off. So Cold Steel actually launches, and then Derp Fender is actually what gets kind of imported into it. So it's more like a plugin type kind of style framework, but setting up Visual Studio is a little bit trickier. So there's some work I have to do with making it a little bit more user friendly, let's say. So but anyways, let's see here. Start external program, and this should be in my bin folder. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh. Let's do that again. Okay, so bin kinda. Alright, it's not there. Where did I put it? Oh, I've got to build an x86. That's why. That's another thing that I need to fix. I probably got to fix this too. I haven't been on this computer in a few days, and I pushed a bunch of stuff up to GitHub, and so I'm not sure where I'm at with all of this. Failed to resolve all references. May be incomplete. So this is built. Okay, there we got a success. And then I need to start the executable. Cold steel. There. All right, let's make sure this runs still. Hey, good. So here's my derp fender normal deal here. Now, the kind of layout's a little different. So you start with this content file, this game.xml, which has to be there, which is the first thing that, and this is just the way it is right now. This is what gets loaded, and it tells you, okay, here's the title of the game, here's the DLLs that you have to load, and these are the particular composers, is what I'm calling them, that you do. So these are code-based, which means that I'm writing the actual stuff in code. I want to have a configuration-based one later that I'll plug in here. So I would go in here and say, okay, I want my game composer to be configuration-based, and then it would use that configuration file versus the code that I've written to do the same thing. And then it says start this main menu scene, which points to my scene here, which is a type space, which this reflective scene builder, which is actually another thing. So there's a bunch of convention built into this that you have to follow, and not exactly super developer friendly yet, but I'm hoping that eventually it will be. So we'll see. But what I was running to this morning, and I ran out of time before I had to go to work, was I get this up, and okay, I go play, and boom, she blows up. And the reason why is this game object, when I'm trying to get the transform, is empty. And I'm not sure why that is. So I have to figure that out now. And it could be that the scene that I've unloaded is trying to go again. I don't know if that's it. It could be. So what should happen is this gameplay scene gets loaded. And then the ship gets added, and it was working. That was all there. I was able to go up and down. The star field came in, and then I added in what? I added in the shooting behavior. So ship, I added this morning. Let's just take that out and see what happens. So that's all good. So I need to figure out why adding in this stuff is failing. So I say active scene, add a new game object. I'm setting it to the position of my transform, adding a sprite render, add the bullet. That's all good and dandy. So what happens behind the scenes then is we go into the scene. The game object gets added here. Add this if activated, which it should be because it was activated. Oh, here. That would probably be it. Oh, all right, something new. So that's good. So that was the problem with that. Texture, could not find the flash to load. Assets non-content file. Sprites. Flash is not the right word. I called it. I just don't have it here. Debris, enemy, bullet. Nope, I gotta bring that in. So I'm just missing a piece of content here. That's all good and dandy. No problem there. Let me go out to my junkyard here and see if I've got one sitting around. Source. No, this is probably not it. Probably got a cold steel. Cold steel. Old source. I know it should be in here. No samples. Derp. Content. Flash. There we go. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and add that into my game here. and then I got to add it to the content processor. That's one thing that I want to build out as a tool where I can just add this into one place and not have to go through this process of adding this again. Flash is into sprites. Good. And yes, we're all good there. Perfect. Close that all out. Just try this again. All right. Whoa, my shooting is working, but my flash is a little bit off. But that's all right. My rate of fire is incredible. All right, now one thing is we should see this memory slowly climb here, because I don't think these are ever getting removed from the game. That's another thing I needed to do quick. Yeah, see how it's the process memory just keeps going. 40, yeah. So that's because I'm keep adding those things. So let's just take a shot here and changes. We fixed adding game objects at runtime, or and what else did we fix? What did I change on this? I didn't change anything. Why is it think it's okay? And I think that's all right. Next thing we needed to do was, so when a game object is added to a scene, or no, when you're in scripting and you're running a behavior and you say destroy this game object, it's saying destroy, it sets destroy to true, and then nothing happens. So what I wanted to happen was that the scene would then at some point in time actually remove that object itself, which would make sense to do after user scripts have run, or after the rendering has run, or at the start of the next scene state. So what I could do here is that the scene manager might say during update, I could tell the active scene to kind of true up. So that kind of starts that's what I'll do. Active scene. It's kind of like remove, destroy, but maybe I'll just keep it abstract and call it update. All right, so the active scene doesn't have an update, of course, so I need to go add one. Oops. Scene. Activate. And what it's going to do is called before, because in the order of operations, the scene manager updates first, then the scripting manager would run, and then if it's a frame, time to render a frame, the rendering manager runs. Actually, it's scene input, scripting, rendering. So I shouldn't tell it when to start. Move any destroyed objects. Good enough. So game objects for each go. Actually, I should say is game objects where game objects to remove. Where go. Actually, game objects. I can do this. I think I can do game objects. Ah. Problem is, there's like a million ways to do this, right? But the easiest way is probably to do game objects dot remove all. Oh, predicate. Right, cool. Go dot is destroyed. Perfect. That makes it super easy. And I can get rid of braces then. I hate curly braces. I just want there to be curly brace free forever. And this is the active scene. There. All right, cool. So that should keep the memory consumption down. Let's just go and so these should get removed when they hit a certain spot in the behavior. It says destroy the game object because each one of these ends up being a game object. So you can see it's static at 38 there. So we haven't gone up, so our memory consumption is static, which is what we should be. So perfect. Awesome. Cool. Let's check that in. Allow destroying of game objects. Sync this up just in case anybody's watching and wants to tinker. Ha ha ha. There's no way. So we're still about an hour and 7 minutes out from theme announcement. So, oh, could not load current branch. Come on, Visual Studio. All right, we'll have to do this the hard way. It seemed to work last time. Well, no, the committals I suppose worked, but we'll just git bash here and git push origin overhaul. And it might ask me for my credentials. Nope, I must have them cached. Good. All right. Next thing, I need to get audio implemented, I think. And the other thing that I need for like a minimum viable runnable thing is maybe some sort of collision detection, which is kind of fun to try to implement on the fly. It's probably not going to be very performant, as actually none of this stuff is very performant right now. I mean, it's fine for a little game, but one of the things that I'm trying not to do is prematurely optimize things, so as every good developer shouldn't do, I guess. But anyways, I need to add audio. There is one cleanup item I wanted to do quick though, and that is I created these like folders, and I originally had components, and I was thinking I was going to put everything in, and I had, you know, behaviors and stuff in there, but now I've realized that this is just going to end up being, I mean, this is all just rendering related stuff, so I'm going to really quick just rename this to rendering. And I'm going to update this component to be, or not component, components namespace to be the rendering namespace. And then I need to put the renderer and rendering manager in there. I think that's what I wanted to do. Now, one of the weird things about Visual Studio with these is I think, yeah, see, you've moved it, folders, but they leave the old remnants here, so I've got to delete those out. Yeah, so now this is really getting down to the core of it without any other stuff. And this has got to be in the rendering namespace. And renderer manager's got to be in here as well. So, I'll take a little asides, I guess, while we're doing this. Just look at the themes that are going to be potentially here. So we got a little more than an hour left. And let's see what we got. Theme voting. So this was my setup. Simplicity, like I said, is one I want for some reason, but I have absolutely no idea why, because I have no idea what I would do for it. But one room, I'm not sure what I would do with that one. I just hope it doesn't get it. Underground, probably some sort of digging game. It's kind of very similar to Beneath the Surface, Underground. Beneath the Surface was what I did with the first Ludum Dare I did, Ludum Dare 29. And it would be kind of, I think what I would do there is I would go and do a throwback to that game that I wrote. I started for 29, and you can see that I did kind of a digging game last round, so that would be kind of a thing. But try to like take this concept and see if I can't now make it, or come up with something actually useful for it. So at the time, all I got was to like this, you know, there really wasn't much you could do. I built out the engine, but I didn't really like. Oh, and now it's kind of broken. But yeah, so I would probably do something like that. Try to maybe do a throwback to that and make a game out of it. I'm not really sure. Only 5 minutes. You get kind of like the 10-second, you know. I mean, it's kind of a game limitation. I'm not sure what you would do with only 5 minutes. I mean, it kind of reminds me of this game. It would have probably, like, this game, a miss that I made retroactively would have kind of fit in there, like, because I think in this one, every 5 minutes, essentially, you had to go and put these numbers into this computer terminal in order to keep the world from not blowing up. And so that retroactively would fit with that theme probably, but I don't really know what I would do with only 5 minutes now. Control the environment, not the characters. What I would probably do here is some sort of like an inverse roguelike, or not even that, but like there's two things I would potentially do, like this dungeon where you're following an AI that's running through it, playing it, and you can place monsters and things like that to try to attack him or her, whatever. Some play on that type of thing, where instead of you being the hero running through the dungeon, you're the dungeon trying to keep the hero from running through you. Wait, we are the bad guys. God, I hope this isn't it. I had no idea. It'd probably be some sort of thematic story thing with that, but I wouldn't. It'd have nothing to do with gameplay. I don't really know. Salvage and repair, I'd probably just do what everyone else does, which is probably going to be a space salvage thing and repair and add components, that kind of a deal. Nothing impermanent, leaves itself to be kind of like a more voxel type thing. Nothing is permanent. Permanent. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. It's hard. Running out of space. I was trying to think of what you could do for some. It'd be like a kind of like space as a resource where, you know, okay, you're running out of it. And how do you play that into a game where, like, let's say you've got a building and you're getting too many employees and you're running out of space and you need to get more, and again, I hope this one isn't it, which is why I downvoted it. Save yourself. Oh, no, I didn't downvote it. There we go. Save yourself, not the world. I mean, it kind of leads yourself to some sort of. Oh, what I was thinking of doing was some sort of like political, some sort of weird political like game of story game or something like that. I don't. Again, that's something I hope we don't get. Isolation. Kind of like you're stranded on an island kind of a thing is maybe what I would do. Into the Unknown, some sort of space game probably. Upgrade yourself, some sort of RPG probably. Leave something behind. No idea. Chain reaction, no idea. Small World, what I would do is probably like a small like city builder type game, like an island city builder type game, maybe try to go back to that isometric, you know, view and do something SimCity-esque, but on like a small kind of island or small world, or, you know, whatever. Simplicity, again, the one I'm kind of rooting for, but I have no idea what I would do, so we'd have to see what happens when the time comes. So that's the themes that we have to choose from this round. Not sure if anything really missed that I was really looking forward to. Other than simplicity, I'm pretty happy that made it in. Artificial life is one that I wish we'd get into. Assemble, I thought was really... Yeah, I upvoted that one. Oh, and I upvoted Into the Unknown. I don't really know. And now I downvoted it in final round, but that's because I like whatever. Salvage and repair. I upvoted Upgrade Yourself too. Wow. Here, all these themes, nothing is permanent. Upvoted. Well, I'll be damned. Cool. Well, I need to get back to building that engine out here. So, and then get some prep going. All right. So I know that I broke something going here. This is in its own namespace now. Good. And then with cold steel, derp fender. This should be broken. This doesn't exist anymore. Fixing references. Fun, fun, fun. Sorry to put you through this, but next thing I've got to do is get this audio source working here. So when you fire it, actually shoot some stuff. Didn't get time to put physics or particles in, so I rarely ever get to that phase anyways. But maybe I will this time. Who knows? I guess it would be really cool if I did. One kind of neat thing that I did is, so this space... Okay, well, this class just sets up the space background, but this reflective scene builder that I made, basically what it does is you declare all of your game objects as properties on here, and I really should make the option of fields too, public fields, but you make them all as properties, and then what that thing does is it goes through, checks for all the properties on the object of game, on the class of type game object, or so it instantiates the scene builder. It then looks for anything of type enumerable game object or layer, as you can see here, and collects them all and then adds them to the scene for you. You still need this compose method, mostly because you can't like reference one of these objects unless you're in another method or whatnot. So you know you can't create it off the start. So this is the create your static things, and then this is any sort of stuff that then depends on these. Yeah, which kind of makes sense, you know. Anyways, cool. I guess I could make it some sort of like dependency injection type thing where you'd say, you know, with set parent or something like dot with, you know, go and do some sort of like, I don't know, pass something where you set the parent, and yeah, I don't. There's probably a way to do it, and then it imports it, but I'm not really worried about that right now. We'll go ahead and components. There. It's actually renamed, but whatever. All right, cool. Next thing is an audio source. And the way I had this implemented before is how I'm going to do it now. But, oh shoot, what am I doing? Okay. Sort of anyways. So we had in here a audio namespace, and we're going to add to it an audio source. And this audio source is a game component, or is just a component rather. So how the components work, that's a good question. I'm just going to take care of some stuff I want to keep consistent on all of this. I figure if I spend all this time actually working on just not the documentation but the formal looking stuff, that maybe I won't try to rewrite it next time. It would be a shame to just keep rewriting it every time. But so let me take a look at how I used to have this. Audio source. It'll end up being very similar to this. You essentially have a sound effect, and you have the ability to play that sound effect. That's pretty much it. So there is some other stuff that eventually I might add, is where you have the camera as an audio listener. You can set an audio listener, and then there's some positional stuff, but I don't really need that right now. I also should make the ability to play a song. Sound effect. And this is the value of the sound effect. So let me see here. So you can create an empty one, or you can create provide one with the asset name. And what that will do is when this is activated, which is an internal operation, it will take a look at sound effect and set it to, or rather, content.load. Load the asset. Okay, that's really all it needs to do. And then we need to public void play. I mean, they could reference the sound effect themselves, but maybe one day I'll make that. Give them the option volume, pitch, pan. Those floats, I can't remember. Floats, yep, volume, pitch, pan. I'll probably have to copy that documentation over at some point in time, just so I know what I'm looking at when I actually do this. But I don't really have a lot of time right now with the game jam coming up. Kind of need to get this done. And I like to keep things in a particular order. So public methods first. And there. All right, cool. Remove these unused. Keep everything clean. All right, we're good. So then over in Derp Fender here, I should be able to do this. Within my gameplay scene, I add an audio source, call with that. Okay, and then within the actual game object, ship, behavior, here I would add in the ability to play that, which I have to actually look up. So game object dot components of type oh shoot, no, delete. Wow, that's interesting how that decided to play out like that. That's what I wanted. Of type audio source. And there's probably better ways, again, to optimize this so I don't have to go through this whole big thing to get it. But if I've done it right, well, I wonder if my yield instruction is working correctly with how fast that is, because this is how rate of fire is 100. This is what I had with my old version, and it did not run like that. It was more of a deet, 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 not a psh, which really feels like it's running as fast as it possibly can. Let's see what I had before in the ship behavior. Oh, rate of fire is 100. Wait m seconds, fire rate. So rate 100 milliseconds. Let's set that to 1,000 and see what happens, which should be a second. I guess 100 milliseconds isn't that long. I don't know, maybe I just was... Nope, it's still running at full speed there, so... either this isn't getting set correctly. Oh, you know what? I'm not... Allow fire. No, this is right. I shouldn't be allowing this more than once. The yield return here should fail. So I'm doing something different. Yeah, I mean, that's running obviously far too fast. So something probably my coroutine, because I rewrote a little bit of it from what I had before, and let's see. So behavior says start coroutine, which then makes it, adds it to pending and returns, and then it gets going, and eventually it will run updates. So wait, update, wait is over. Time remaining, which should be in milliseconds. minus equal total milliseconds. Yeah, this is elapsed, not. Yeah, no, you're right. Let's see what I changed. Sample cold steel source. Coroutine weight. Game time delta, which according to my wrapper was total milliseconds. Is over is time remaining less milliseconds to wait. So when create is called with milliseconds, those milliseconds get put into a wait yield instruction, which then gets set to there. Time remaining is subtracted off every time the frame runs, and then it runs through and it'll eventually go. So not exactly sure why that's happening like that. Unless there's a, okay, so the first time this comes through, wait doesn't equal null. Wait updates. Whoop. Maybe this wait isn't getting set at some point. I'm gonna have to step through this. I think I'm using this one. So one of the weird things about using a separate library and trying to keep them separated here where I'm not using them in the same solution is that debugging gets a little funny, but okay, so I've got the routine. Okay. Adds. Wait a minute. Oh. Yeah, of course there's 200 some behaviors. Wow, it's funny how you can hear me stepping through the stuff there. So, remove all this complete. So how does it find whether this is complete? If I can't move next, well, maybe I'm moving the first immediately and then it's not. Oh yeah, because it checks it actually moves it next. So I can't check that. Just 1 second. All right. All right, I'm back. Had to Thanks, Scott. Had to do some. The wife came in with our newborn, so had to do some fatherly stuff quick. Yes, Cassie. All right, where are we at now? So yeah, I figured out what my problem was, because I was just dumb. This is complete that I was calling before was actually calling the next step in the coroutine, and it was getting called in another place, and it was just that was bad. So it was a bad setup from before. So whatever. So I solved that problem, and now, as you can see. Let me set my rate back to something reasonable. Sorry for the noise, but that's what it works like. So, cool. We are in game on audio, and we are in the game on those coroutines. So perfect. It's a good place to be for now. So let me see. We got about what till the Ludum Dare announcement? We are about half an hour out now. I'm sure things are getting pretty crazy out there. Let's just take a little scan at the Twitterverse. See what's going on for LD Jam. Blender skills. If you ever try to learn Blender, it's probably one of the most confusing things out there. I'm not really sure I understand it, so anything else going on? No, just getting close. You know what, like I said, I still have to implement some sort of collision detection quick, so maybe we can do that quick in 20 minutes. Or just a real rudimentary collision detection. Yeah, why the heck not? It's not going to be performant, it's not going to be good, but it will work to just at least get for prototyping type stuff. And I'll improve it if I need to over the weekend. So we have got, so let's consider this to be, it's not going to be really physics. Let's just call it collisions. Collision namespace, collisions. Interaction, I don't know what you would call it. I'll just call it physics for lack of better. Like I said, I'm not really super big fan of that name. So this part, I base a lot of what I do on Unity, actually. I'm not like trying to copy them or anything, but it's more inspire them because obviously they know how to build an engine and I don't. So some of the things I like to do is just check to see if, you know, if they have any information on how they like group these kinds of things, but they don't really here, it looks like. So yeah, I guess physics is what we'll call it. So basically what we need to do is define some sort of physical object in which we will collide, which is just going to be boxes for now. So we'll make a box collider, which is a component. Oh, not a component. And I'll just get my I should really put this in the toolbox. Actually, I had done that before, but... Oh, maybe I did already. Ah! No, that was something old I threw in there. There we go. Boop. There we go. All right. So, what is a box collider going to look like in practice? So the ship here fires off these bullets, and a bullet consists of a position which is just right outside of it. It should be. It starts off as a flash, which then its behavior, bullet behavior, changes it into the actual bullet. But it needs now to add a new box collider. I should have just called it collisions detection or something like that. Anyways, so the box collider then will be around it, and then if you get two boxes, and they overlap, then you get the detection and all that. It should be, pretty straightforward. Now, one thing I wasn't aware of they have is a bounding box type, which must be a 3D thing. Darn it. So, there's how to look at a box collider is probably you've got a rectangle, and so you're here. Your sprite's kind of around it. Your rectangle is the shape of it, but then it's kind of got a position. It's almost got its own position aside from you. My dog's really getting in my... She's probably got to go potty. I bet. Go on, Cassie. What do we need to make a box collider? Again, a lot of times when I ask these questions, I'm like, well, maybe I'll see what you use to create a Unity box collider. $2D. And if you're going to make one from scratch, what does it look like? It doesn't give you the... He said it's almost like it has its own... deal. Size of the box measuring object's local space. The center of the box measuring local space. So, So what you'd want to do is potentially it has its own position relative to the player's position. And then so you could say, okay, the center of the box, the origin, the center of its universe is where the sprite is, or the whatever you're trying to collide against is. The game object is. Sorry, Miles. I'm hoping simplicity is going to be the theme. Mostly because it scares the crap out of me because I have absolutely no idea. So it'll probably be that because I don't know what it's going to be. Yeah, thanks for asking. And I've tried Unity before, and I haven't used GameMaker, but I've used Phaser and stuff like that. I like playing with my own code. I'm more of a programmer, I guess, so the fun for me is the coding part, I think. So my dog is just not leaving me alone here. I'm gonna have to let her go. I know you want to be petted. Just a second. Hey, Kara, can you let her out? Sorry about that. All right, so let's see here. So I give it a local position relative to the thing, so it'll need a vector 2. So we'll just say it is this dot so if I don't provide one, then we just assume it's the center, and if we, let's just say we keep it empty, we don't provide anything, what it should do is probably use some sort of default dimensions, or it could use the dimensions of the sprite if there's a sprite renderer, which by the time it activates it should have on it. Or if it's undefined, then yeah, so then I could use some sort of hierarchy, like if you provide type of dog do you have? Oh, I've got 2 dogs, a French bulldog, and I've got French bulldog and a kind of a retriever mix. Her mom was a black lab. She's kind of a rescue, kind of a puppy type thing. So this is my own code game engine called Cold Steel. It's out on GitHub. It's not like nobody would use it except for me, but I am trying to build something like Unity, inspired by Unity. So thank you for asking. I am paying attention to the YouTube comments if anyone's got questions. So I see there's a couple people following. Yeah, so let's see here. Where are we out? All right. So let's just say I leave that blank for now. In the engine then, I go through and it needs to have a position and then a and it's got to have some sort of dimension to it, right? Now I could potentially fit this in the rectangle itself, but well, because rectangles technically have positions in them, but then it's not offset from the origin. I'm really conflicted on how to implement this is my problem. So because this could be just the dimensions of the rectangle, in which case I don't really need a rectangle at all, because then I could just use a vector too, because that's what it says. So I should be fine with just a rectangle. Yeah, so bounding box, which there is a bounding box type, but it's a 3D thing, I guess. So and then let's see, public box collider, which doesn't do anything, but the magic will have to be when it gets activated and what kind of steps you take on here. Okay, so its position will be relative to the center. Oh, this is perfect. What am I talking about? Rectangle. Bounding box. How far are we out here? 20 minutes? Still got time to implement this thing? And then, oops. Okay, so what we've got to do in this case is, if there's already a bounding box there, now the problem is that this is a struct, which means there's always going to be a value there, and it's always going to be like a unit rectangle. So I'm not totally sure. I could, I could put something on the setter that would tell me if something's set it, and if it hasn't, then I know it's the basic rectangle there, so I should look at, I could look at the sprite box and say, okay, the size of the sprite is the size of the rectangle. Maybe that's just too complicated for now. Maybe I'll just say if you don't provide one, it's going to be... You can tell this is my strong point in physics. Screw it. Let's just leave it as is for now and say, all right, you've got a bounding box, and it's a rectangle, and it's got a position local to the thing, so you'd want to set it, if you want it up here, you'd set it negative, negative, and then what you do to get its actual position, which isn't even really right. There should be like a local bounding box and then like a globally set one. I don't know, maybe that'll be determined at runtime. We'll figure this out. Okay, so anyways, you've added a bounding box to this thing, or a box collider. And let's say you've set it to negative 10, negative 10, width of 20, 20. So that says take the center point, subtract 10, subtract 10. That's your start of the rectangle, or your starting position, and then your ending position is above 10, 10 from the origin, right? So that's what you'd get here. If I can just stop saying right. All right, so now we need to actually do the magic here. I don't have enemies to actually collide with yet, but we need to write the actual collision component, or the collision manager, we'll call it for now. Collision manager. Sure, why not? This is an internal game component. And really quick, pull in my license, copyright. Perfect. Okay, that will need to be registered within the bootstrapper, and that will run prior to input running, so it's the second thing that will run. And game.components.add new collision manager game. 15 minutes to go time here. I'll probably cut off the coding at about 5 minutes too, and then just go and watch the fireworks, I guess. All right, so we've got that in place. Go back to physics, collision manager. And how did I do this with rendering? There's the scene, which I need to get in order to know which objects are in the scene. And that is registered through a service, which I get after it's initialized. And then it happens during draw. So updates. So this is where the collision detection actually steps then. So I've run through. I have found the... All right, so I need to get all boxes with a collision, a box collider, or all game objects. So box colliders equals This is the part that I really need to spend time optimizing. Game objects where, actually I would call it select many game objects where go dot collider components dot, actually components is what I want to collect, of type collider box collider. And actually I should have a base type of collider just in case I want to add more. For now we'll just assume they're all box colliders. Okay, so now I've got through and I've gotten all the box colliders. Now I need to check to see if any of them have collided with any of the other ones. So now this is the very non-performant part once you get a lot of box colliders. You say I is less than box colliders. I'm not even sure this is right, but you start with the first one, you say check it against all the rest of them. You start with the next one, then you check it against all the rest of them. You start with the one after that, you go against all the rest of them. I'm not sure there's a really good way to do this other than just brute force it right now. I know there's probably, well, there's strategies you can use where you define, like, let's say segments. You break them up into chunks where, you know, if something's over here, it's not going to be able to collide with something over here and over here. And so what you do is you seg them off into quadrants or smaller sections, and then you check just collisions within those smaller segments. So you start to hash them into tables, and then you check in those tables because there's a lot less checks that need to be done. But for a 5-minute implementation, this will technically work. Not necessarily well, and of course I'm looking it up every time. Actually, no, this shouldn't have to do anything right off the bat. So j equals 0, j is less than, actually j equals 1, or actually j equals I plus 1. J is less than box colliders dot count, j plus plus. So I get the one at, oh no. Get an array so we can actually do this. Box 1 equals box colliders dot at I. Box 2 equals box colliders at j. And now I understand what I need to do. This isn't the bounding box. The bounding box is something that actually gets calculated. This is, there's a private rectangle, or a rectangle that's the actual shape, or a public rectangle that's the actual shape. Shape and offset. We'll call it local bounding box. Bounding box is actually just something you get. And it's the position of your transform minus the two-point minus the bounding box position, which doesn't give you, location. And then we've got a height and a width, which would be the same as your actual So I wonder if I can just do rectangle. I don't know if you can just add rectangles like that. I have to try it. Width. Actually, there should be a dimensions on this maybe. Location, top, size, which is your second point. Good. So your position and your size. And that gives you what the actual location of it is. And we're what, 4 minutes or 9 minutes out here. If box 1 bounding box dot, actually we can just do this, if rectangles over intersect should be an intersects. Yeah. Box 2. Then we've got a collision. And that's what I will save for later. So that's your 15-minute really naive collision detection system. Again, I actually have to figure out what to do with this, which what I would probably do is mark, because really it would only make sense for this if there's behaviors that subscribe to some sort of collision detection. Really what I wouldn't want to necessarily update when it happens, but maybe when the behavior it actually updates. So it would register a collision on the game object. The scripting manager then, when it comes through and it runs behaviors, one of its steps will be like handle collisions, run your normal stuff, and then run your coroutines. So there would be a kind of a three-phase thing, and collisions would just go through the list of anything that's been marked on the boxes, and you'd have the option to respond to those in your behaviors. But we're getting pretty close to game time here, so I'm going to get this as is committed. Start of collision detection. I will have to probably finish that up depending on this weekend, depending on the results of the deal here. Git push origin overhaul. Oh, I have to really quick go to GitHub and create my repo for this. Ludum Dare 37. In LD 37. And I'll pretty much put everything under MIT, so perfect. Got that, so let's clone that down, get that ready to go. Okay, good there, perfect. Let's go ahead and get the game started. So I'm going to be using Cold Steel for this. All right, well, you know what? I can get this going later. I'm going to have to let my mind chew on the theme for a little bit, so I'll go through that. Probably going to jump off as soon as the theme announcement's over and I get a couple thoughts in. But let's go and, what am I doing? Let's go figure out what the theme is here. So ldjam.com. Submissions will open tomorrow. Sweet, on the new site. Absolutely love that. right, if anybody wants to follow me, that's my LD Jam user. Got 3 minutes to go. Exciting, right? Oh man, I saw this earlier today. This is just fantastic. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That's some Unity particle system. It's just amazing. So let's just take a look at what's going on. 3 minutes to go. One thing I'd like to remember is what I actually submitted for a theme. I can't even remember, to be honest. So the way that my weekend's going to go is tonight is fully ideation. I'm going to figure out, pin down what I'm going to do, and I'm going to commit for sure. That was my problem with a lot of the times when I've gotten not really done or not close. And I just need to say, hey, I'm doing it. This is what I'm going to do. So tonight I figured out. Tomorrow, all day, gameplay engine. That's it. But it's got to be ugly. Because one thing is that I won't get into is I want to make it look good right away, and there's no way. I got to focus on gameplay hard, and so I have this rule that I'm going to do is any piece of content, if it takes longer than it has to take 5 minutes or less to make. So I'm going to set a timer and say 5 minutes. If I'm not done, then just use what I've got, kind of a deal. Which reminds me, I haven't implemented sprite sheets yet. in the engine, or animations and things like that. So I'll be spending some time hacking through that this weekend, but it doesn't take too long to go through those components now that I've got the architecture there. I have old copies of things that would do it, so it's just a matter of getting close. In fact, I should take a LD Jam branch off my... I should take an LD Jam branch off my cold steel so I don't hose it up over the weekend. So I kind of like where I'm at with it. All right, we're about a minute out here. Wonder if this site's gonna crash like the old one does, or if I mean, it seems to be pretty responsive right now. 22 seconds. Oh. Crashed. All right, Twitter, what is it? What am I doing? Go to Ludum Dare. The theme is one. Oh no! One room. No. No. Come on. The one room. No. Oh man, I am not looking forward to this one. One room. What am I gonna do for one room? I was really hoping simplicity would win. Well, shoot. Oh boy. Wow, it's crazy how this site's like slow to load now because but this is pretty neat. It's got the timers up and everything. Except for it's really slow, but one room. I'm not even gonna like that. No. Kind of reminds me of the entire game on one screen. How did that end up as the winner? Well, there we go. There we have it. So we've got the theme. Time to get chugging away on it, I guess. Not exactly happy about it. Not my favorite theme of the bunch. Oh, what will I do for one room? I honestly didn't think that would work, or that would happen. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do for one room. I'm going to have to just let my mind sit on it. Think up a couple ideas right away and put it in the back of my head, go do some stuff, and then come back and really dig into what is going to be my game. Has to be completable in one day for gameplay, and then it has to it's got to again polish all day Sunday. So I'm gonna log off for now. Thanks for watching me. For those who's for some reason decided to be worth watching me for a little while and commenting on it, I appreciate the audience. I may or may not be on later tonight. I think I might just focus on the ideation, and if I get a good idea, I'll probably do some streaming all day tomorrow for it. So have a good night if I don't jump on again and you don't see me again.